early bird special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. And it's 8 o'clock on a Tuesday, which is the best time of the week for me because I get to talk wrestling for 30 minutes with our guy, 24KG. We have to test something first, though, because we had technical issues last week. Can you hear us this week?
Yes, indeed, sir. Salutations.
Thank God.
Thank you, baby Jesus.
Oh, my God. Dude, you have no idea. This thing gives me so much stress. So much stress.
Young man ulcers.
I don't need that. I don't need to be a brawn breaker right now. No. And actually, we're going to start. So I presented this point at the beginning of the show, my friend. Last night, we had another major injury. Bronson Reed of the Vision goes down with a torn.
Unfortunately.
I think it's pretty it's pretty well established on the internet, at least from people that I've seen and people like reactors and stuff that watch this and are pretty well knowledgeable in what they're talking about. They all think that was a shift. Jay winning last night. It was supposed to be Bronson as the final person in the Elimination Chamber. But
True.
Do you think that the faked injury by Seth Rollins a couple months ago is kind of what caused this downward spiral, the bad juju on the entire faction as a whole in terms of injuries? Because now your top 3 stars of that entire faction are out, and so much so that they let Paul Heyman, although this was probably in the cards anyway, but they let Paul Heyman go out there and be the mouthpiece for Brock Lesnar once again as well, which we'll get to later on.
Well, unfortunately for Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, ever since the Seth Rollins injury, this is unfortunate timing. WWE seems to be getting bit by the injury bug more so now than ever in company history. But there's been a time where they've been down and depleted like this before, and new stars rose to the occasion. It was a different time, different regime there. Well, actually, before I say do I and pose a question, I'll just say, yes, I have certain feelings of reservation about it because you never want to see your favorite athletes or performers get hurt. Never. I do feel sorry for them because those 2 names that I mentioned were built to benefit from this the most. The vision was supposed to launch these new young superstars into a stratosphere of top guy status. And with these injuries, it's kind of hard to do that. I really feel bad for Bronson Reed. Last year he injured his foot, couldn't make WrestleMania. 2 years, and then this year he tears a bicep and he can't make this WrestleMania. With the plans going further and further down the toilet, him becoming the de facto standout guy in that group wasn't hard to see, and what he was being positioned for. Do I feel sorry for creative? Hell no. F no. Because this makes them have to get up off their butts and write something decent. Actually put something together instead of this chat GTPT storylines we've been seeing get just pushed out on the air. And I'm saying that as something that some stories just don't have any weight or make any sense right now. Maybe they're just not supposed to and they're just filling up time. But unfortunately, this is where WWE's at now. And I'm not saying it's karma for jacking up ticket prices and making it to where you have to put a car payment down just to go see an event. But I can't really feel sorry for the company. I do feel sorry for the athletes, though.
So a question that is posed in our YouTube feed right here by Tommy Gunn as well. Do you think that the lowering of house shows is leading to a lot of these injuries? Because house shows
absolutely
practice.
Absolutely. That was a great comment right there.
It could just be like the NFL. The less you take,
the more repetition,
the more can come. So,
and this is something that we're seeing. I'm not going to say that AEW is doing anything similar to that, but they still run house shows in their region to keep their wrestlers. And not only that, they allow them to go other places to get more reps in with other companies. I do agree with that comment. The lack of house shows has dropped the lack of reps. With that being gone, you're prone to have more injury. It's common sense. It's like if you never practice for an NFL game.
Obviously, with the sport as well. I mean, it's going to happen.
Absolutely. And again, I didn't even consider that until I read that, to be honest. But it's just like the NFL situation. The more you take away padded practices, the more likely you're going to get some sort of major injury because your body's not used to that kind of punishment.
And we've had a couple of listeners text in the same question. Do you guys think it's a work? I think we all agree that was a real injury.
Well,
it looked like it anyways.
That again, that was actually going to be my next question to both of you. What's the percentage you think that this is all a work for both of them, Bronson and Braun? That maybe
you go poking the bear sometimes. The universe have a way to crap right back on you. Maybe this fake injury that they threw out there to go, look, we got you, and this is the result of it. Universally, karmically, unfortunately, for those two guys, this group is dead in the water.
I think both of them are real. Personally, I mean, knowing the Bronson Reed for sure. Last night when I saw him, and I had to rewind it because I was
see
like,
it on
"What?"
his face, dude. Like the minute he broke up that,
he looked at his arm. You knew it. You knew something was serious.
And he would have finished the match, I think, if it wasn't as drastic it was. But that obviously brings up the question: is with the hooded man? I mean, now he really has no one to really attack. I mean, they're going to have to, like KG said, those writers are going to have to get back into the office, and they get paid to write up these curveballs and change ups. I don't think it'll be that difficult, but it's going to be a major change up.
Yeah, and it's like I said last week, this is probably the best time for this to happen for the WWE because the roster is so deep.
Right.
You have plenty of talent in this roster that you can make up for all of the injuries and the missing pieces. As much as people probably don't want to see it, now you can shift the MFTs and the Wyatt Six feud into a WrestleMania match if you wanted to, and it could open up the door for another match they weren't even considering for WrestleMania yet, like we see a lot of these great title matches that get left on the cutting room floor for either SmackDown the night before or Raw the day after Mania. You could actually see that move into the Mania scene now because the Vision won't be a part of it, or at least won't be as big of a part of it. Who will be a part of it, though, is the other side of Paul Heyman's coin from last night, the Brock Lesnar call out. Who do you guys think it's going to be? I have three names in mind. Oba is definitely one of them, but I'm going to throw out one here that I don't think a lot of people are considering because we haven't seen him on a show yet, but he is obviously signed with the company. And I just got done watching his interview with Stephanie McMahon the other day, and it is fantastic. But what about Royce Keys? I think Royce Keys versus Brock Lesnar would be an incredible way to get Royce's career started in the WWE. And if he can beat Brock, now you have a brand new beast that you can just throw out there whenever you need it. You have a face or a heel that could stand up now against guys like Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Gunther, all of these guys that, I mean, desperately are looking for a new face to get thrown into the middle of some of their matches outside of guys like LA Knight, who I think is going to get a push here, hopefully. But I mean, it would make sense to me that they give Royce Keys the keys to the kingdom with a match against Brock Lesnar at Mania.
Nah, I think he'd come out and get booed because everybody wants to see Oba. Keep it real, man. That sounds sweet. But in all actuality, I think really Brock Lesnar's opponent is just gonna remain a mystery till WrestleMania.
Probably.
They're gonna probably have him with some tune-up matches, a warm-up match here or there with somebody. Feed him a Zack Ryder, feed him a Otis or somebody like that along the way. And they might, hey, whomever it is, it might just be the guy that's in the box. For all we know.
You know what?
Literally,
it could absolutely be whoever the hell comes out of that box.
I personally think they're going to let him run through Rusev. I think Oba and Rusev for the next month, and then I think how they set it up where they showed the 6 or 7 dates that Brock will be there throwing it out. I think they'll season it, and by that time, the Oba probably run through Rusev and set him up perfectly to come out. And dude, can you imagine the pop when he comes out?
No, I agree with both of you. Silva was the first one that came to mind. I'm just saying if you wanted to throw this bone to somebody else, Royce Keys could be a great one to throw out there.
What I can appreciate, though, is the way Paul Heyman did set that up and remind everybody about how Brock Lesnar destroyed the Undertaker streak. So that main event spot is now Brock Lesnar's. And we haven't really seen that lately. And I was like, I like the way he did remind us because we all kind of forgot about that real quick with all the things that have been going on with, suspensions and lawsuits and changing of the company and all these other things. Certain aspects of WrestleMania have slipped between the proverbial fingers of a pay-per-view that we're traditionally used to watching. But, for what it was last night. Oh, go ahead.
The only other name that pops up to me is Randy Orton.
I can see Randy going one-on-one again.
Randy needs to run his fade back. Yeah.
Like, because that does leave Randy open for a match at Mania too, because there's really not a whole ton brewing for him. And I don't think they're going to actually give Randy a shot at that belt until Cody gets it back. Because
or you could see Gunther.
Yeah, that's the other one that popped in my head was does Gunther.
Because the way they kind of set that date list up was like, would it be considered a retirement tour? Like these are Brock Lesnar's last stops before WrestleMania. It was eerily similar.
True, and I agree, but I think that was more just to sit there and say, these are the dates you have until WrestleMania, and then you have no more shot to go up against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. I don't think it's them saying this is Brock's last ride, but then again, it might be because we just saw AJ, hang up his gloves yesterday. John Cena just hung up his, so it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility that you're right, and that's actually a retirement tour.
Yeah, they could be keeping it secret because Brock Lesnar doesn't like to, show any vulnerability or whatnot or compassion, emotion, or even for the fact that he's human, I think. But yeah, so it could be, and you never know with these guys.
This is true. This is absolutely true.
This is the devil we're talking about. TKO, WWE.
Talking about AJ Styles and his retirement speech yesterday, I thought it was really cool that the WWE even brought back the Good Brothers and everybody that was connected to AJ to be there for this day. Is this really the end for Styles, though? I have my doubts. I really do. I know he sat there and said, I wanted to wait to hang up my stuff until I got home. But something tells me that we're going to see at least one more appearance or match from him. Maybe not at WWE, but definitely in TNA. There's something that makes me believe there's a spot in TNA for him.
I agree with you to a degree. I think WWE are masters of timing and manipulation, and I'll tell you why. The best thing on last night's show, Javon Evans, Kofi Kingston. There was another match that really stood out. It was supposed to be great, but it ended up ending in injury, which was, the qualification match. Bronson Reed unfortunately got injured. And then the AJ Styles retirement segment. Other than that, Raw was crap to me. I felt like the women's match was great. I felt like the crowd just really was not into it for some reason. But when AJ Styles came out, the crowd should have reacted way more intense. This was Atlanta, Georgia. The fact that they let him get through it without being interrupted or hit by a chair or something, I was very surprised at. Yeah, I was expecting that. But I think, and this is when you see genuine surprise on people's faces, the fact that Undertaker came out at the end and told him he was inducted into the 2026 Hall of Fame immediately. I felt like was an honor. Great. Awesome look. The aesthetic. But really, this was WWE sinking their claws into him for another year to monetize and just really get everything that they can out of AJ Styles before he has his time to separate from the company, like most Hall of Famers, to go do whatever they want, wherever they want. And this was their way of getting a last bit of that phenomenal cash flow out of good old AJ Styles, his merch. You notice they had the belts, the shirts, the gloves, the this and that. You can all buy on WWEshop.com. Where was this push when he was active?
Right. Where was this push during the retirement match? And that's the other thing that I keep trying to wrap my head around. He's in talks right now, from what we understand, with the company to renew a contract, which means he's gonna be there at some point.
I believe as a coach, something.
Maybe, but the thing that I keep trying to wrap my head around too, though, if this was the case and he was retiring, why does Gunther come out and rub it in everybody's face? That there's no way that's to increase the feud between him and Dragon Lee, or is
Poor creative? Poor creative, bro.
I don't know if it's poor creative or if that was just the setup for AJ's return.
We just haven't got the rest of the story yet.
Exactly, where he beats Gunther at some point down the line, maybe at Mania. I don't know.
You know, it doesn't hurt to be hopeful,
right?
And I wish I had that same optimism, but with the track record of the company doing its veterans wrong for some reason, it's like they get off on it. I wouldn't have too much faith in anything more than what we just seen. And I think honestly that was probably the most respectful way I've seen a wrestler be retired in the last few years, because you know, as much as I want to give John Cena his credit, and I give it all to him for the last 25 years, but the way they handled his retirement tour was a little crappy.
True, but what do you mean by they don't take care of their vets? I want you to expand on that real quick before I say
Okay, that. Kurt Angle's last match. You really want to see Baron Corbin?
Fair. No, that's absolutely fair. That one definitely.
Okay, there are other examples we could go further back on. And let's just say we'll just chalk it up to previous administration, you know, whatever, how Vince felt about certain things and not letting the IPs of his characters go a certain direction creatively. I understand that. But lately, it just hasn't been that spectacular when wrestlers fade to the PC as a coach.
Okay. Because I what I was gathering from it was like they're not winning their final matches, which
no, that's tradition. That's tradition. You always go out lights up. That's tradition.
Exactly. So it's like that's why I'm saying I don't necessarily think that they're fumbling them in that regard. I think it's more. I agree with you that yes, the Kurt Angle Corbin whatever match back then wasn't exactly what everybody wanted, but at the same time, Baron Corbin was huge at the time for what he did to Becky and all of this other stuff that he was doing, catching heat as a heel. So
was he really? He was happy Corbin. They had him go through a poor phase, a broke phase, a get back on phase. He lost his family. Then he had Madcap Moss. This guy was a Vegas dad Corbin, for Christ's sakes. Like it was a bad look.
I'm not saying he's John Cena, but he was the next heel they were trying to build. Just like they were doing with Gunther right now, they're trying to build this guy to be somebody that's disliked within the company, which is why they fed him, Kurt Angle. Again, he even says that he shouldn't have been Kurt Angle's last match. I concede that. But
at least he admits it.
Creative trying something, that I think was just them throwing some spaghetti against the wall and trying to figure out what sticks. So
we are at the pro level of professional wrestling entertainment. Nobody should be throwing spaghetti at the wall idea-wise to see what sticks. They are being paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to get in that creative with Triple H, Vince McMahon, whomever is there, and give us high-quality product. TKO, I'm not going to say it's the death of wrestling. Wrestling will never die, but just the way that they do there's certain practices, behind the scenes that we're not privy to, that we may think we know online or reading the dirt sheets or watching Unreal or whatnot, but there is something seriously defective in that creative room. And I think now with all these injuries,
I don't think it is either. But again, I appreciate the opinion.
It's doing its job because it's pissing people off.
Look.
That's people talking
that's
about
what wrestling is.
But look.
I personally think
you think he's out?
Yes. There's no way he's coming back. There's no way they will write something with all this and just throw it away for him to come back in one match.
Not a WWE event, but I can see him over at TNA. I could see him maybe having one more match with Kazarian, or you know what I mean? Like,
how many times did Ric Flair retire? I feel you. I feel you.
My point is that AJ Styles to me fits that MO. He's somebody who's been in wrestling his whole life, and I just don't see it.
Well, that whole thing about being the best dad that he wasn't, it just hit home where it was like, okay, but back to the story. I mean, WWE or wrestling in general is doing its job because it's one, pissing off some viewers for certain things,
lot of
whether
the
it's the
internet
writers.
viewers.
I'm personally upset because I'll say it every week. I was upset about another women's match. That Natty match was just so stupid. And I'm like, you can keep
At this
trying
point,
to feed me.
her just killing Maxine every week too.
Yeah.
Who got her?
Why did they even build her up and put the IC title on in the first place if they were just going to dog walk her every week?
My last question that I had is going back to Grayson Waller. Now that he has shown face, and now that the guy that was supposed to be in the hooded area, are they just throwing these guys in just to kind of mess with you to see?
Yeah, just to see.
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
And honestly,
at this point, it's a troll job. It's a troll job.
Absolutely. And I think at this point, him not being in any matches for the New Day is all I need to see to know that he is the masked man. Because if you were part of New Day, you would be in a lot of these matches as Big G. But he hasn't been wrestling with the New Day at all.
I mean, he jumped into the match, but that was about it.
Been there.
Yeah.
He's not really interfering in the matches. He's not helping Kofi.
But my question is, now that with another injury through the vision, I mean, are they going to try to throw another curveball into this? Where
I wouldn't doubt it.
They can use that. I mean, obviously, with no one knowing 100% who it is, maybe they can use this to kind of curve out of it.
Seth and Grayson against Austin and Logan.
Maybe.
I don't know. With the masked man thing, they can shuffle guys in and out of that all they want till it's revealed to be whomever it is. So, just because Grayson Waller has a goatee and all that stuff, and we see the guy come out, it can still be him. It doesn't matter at this point. Right. They're using this masked man gimmick to death, but either way, it's gonna develop into something, and we'll see what it is.
With Uso taking that last spot, both of the chamber matches are all set.
It's playoff time.
I mean, even looking at the women's side, the women's side looks like it's going to be a great match. Oh, yeah, but the men's, I'm just looking at it. I'm like, it could go either way.
So the men's, we have Jey Uso, Randy Orton, LA Knight,
Cody.
Oh God, who are the last two? Oh, Trick and Javon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Trick and Javon are going to show out. I would tell you right now. I feel like they're going to have the best showing throughout this entire match. I don't know who wins that.
Exactly.
I really don't.
I would lean probably Cody, but anybody could
write off Trick and Javon just because obviously they're not going to give them a shot against Drew this early. Cody is a great opportunity, but can I just say the quiet thing out loud? Please give it to LA Knight. Please give it to LA Knight. I am so tired of us not getting this main push for him and him just getting fed to these factions and just, injured or sent through cars. And I desperately want to see LA Knight legitimately get a shot at a belt, and going against Drew McIntyre, that is a legitimate shot. I don't know who comes out.
I agree. I can agree with you on that one. I wouldn't mind seeing Randy Orton either, but I think LA Knight more so than anybody deserves it right now.
And what about the women's?
That's the one.
It's quite predictable. Rhea Ripley.
Really?
You think so?
Predictable.
The one that made sense.
And I'm playing it safe. I'll play it safe as well with that. I'm not going to get too crazy and say, oh, Alexa and this and that, even though I think Alexa has a fair shot because the crowd has really been behind her. But safe money's on Rhea.
I'm going to take Tiffy. I think Tiffany wins because obviously they can put a one-on-one between her and Jade, and we've already seen that it's actually pretty good. They're both athletic enough to make a pretty good match. Not to mention, I've noticed that every other person in this match is part of a tag team, and it would only make sense to me that you're building essentially a 4-way or a 5-way tag match for the women's belts at Mania. And what better way to do that than to have one of each of the team beat up on each other at Elimination Chamber and build heat.
Do you think Rio loses the titles next week?
I don't know if they lose them. I think they go in with them, but I don't think they walk out of Mania with them.
Yeah, because if Rhea wins this, wouldn't she get a Mania match? And I'm already seeing it on the wall with.
They would drop the titles beforehand.
And Io, I think with them teamed up last night in that triple threat, I was like, okay, we're gonna see Io and Kyrie back again
point.
because that was one of my favorite tag teams when they were together.
Absolutely.
But I'm just not throwing spaghetti on the walls. But I'm seeing, Rio kind of. I don't know if it's gonna be to, who are they? They got a match this weekend, right?
No. The only other matches this weekend are CM Punk and Finn Balor, and then AJ and Becky.
Well, was it SmackDown that they were previewing the next match for the tag team partners? So I don't know when that is, but
probably Friday.
Probably Nia Jax and
Lash
take those titles off them.
That's who I think. Yeah, they're building a lot of heat for those.
Yeah, they're. Yeah,
I don't know if you have enough momentum to really give it to them yet. And
they're too big, too strong.
Yeah, I think they're gonna split Kiana James and Julia at some point too, because Kiana, they strapped the rocket to her back after the Royal Rumble and her incredible performance there. So
me personally, I want Asuka to win it, but I don't see it happening.
Well, the only reason I don't know if Rhea's gonna win it, unless they want to double up on her and she does 2 matches for Mania like Seth did, and she does one night and one the other.
If anyone could,
yeah, if any of the women could, Rhea. But Raquel, obviously, that's also on the table. I know I said that a couple weeks ago. There is a lane here where you could have Raquel sneak her way into that Stephanie and Liv match. And then we have the splintering of Judgment Day and all of that too.
Raquel against Jade would be a great match too.
Yeah. You know, and that actually would. If there's any woman that can go pound for pound strength-wise with Jade Cargill, it's Raquel. So I think would be Raquel and
the Monster Mommies.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. Pause.
Real quick, we only got a minute left. I wanted to throw this at you before we got out, but over the week we had an MJF appearance at Hall of Glory or House of Glory.
House of Glory, yes. I watched that match.
Do you think this is AEW trying to extend themselves once again into the indie scene, or is this them trying to pull Zilla Fatu away from the WWE and onto their promotion? Because that's what I saw.
Both. I literally saw both. I agree with you, Chris. The courtship of AEW and the young prince of the Samoan dynasty is in full flourish right now. Mm-hmm. Tony Khan is doing his best to send his feelers, antennas, and incentives Zilla Fatu's way, because if you can grab one of the genuine Fatus, I think it's going to boost interest in the company and nonetheless give this guy room to make mistakes without being under the pressure, spotlight, and expectations of his family's name in WWE. He's been doing his thing on the indies. We're not getting that twisted, but he does need a little bit more exposure, professional experience. I think the experience with TNA really gave him that bug of, I really want to do more national television, but it didn't help that it was soured by Rikishi. Mm-hmm. So why would you want to have anything to do with family that you don't mess with in a business that you're still navigating? You got plenty of family friends that knew your father that are looking out for you, and you can actually see it benefiting him with his in-ring work right now. I think the match against MJF told us a lot. I think it showed character on MJF, on how he knows how to work with anybody you throw him in there and make it look good. And Zilla Fatu on the levels that he can actually reach, and his selling, his fluid motion, the back and forth. It was very safe, but it looked like they were having fun.
Right.
And that's what you really miss watching in certain wrestling matches that I think people are more so attracted to on this indie scene now, whether it's House of Glory or wherever you're watching it. House of Glory seems to be one of the bigger ones. But it was a great match, and I agree with you, Chris. Like, AEW is not wasting time.
No, and they're doing it right. They're doing what WWE used to do, and they're sending people out there to really kind of pull their people in. But yeah, you hit it right on the head. It's the freedom that comes with working with AEW. He'd still be able to do all of the online stuff that he does currently. The WWE would honestly get in the way of that and want to control it. So that's why it popped in my head when I saw MJF say, "I'm going to House of Glory and I'm taking on Zilla Fatu." And I said, "Excuse me." First off, I want to watch that anyway, just because that's wrestling gold.
Great match.
Yeah, no, I said this is them essentially sending their champion out there to scout young talent and say, you deserve to be with us because they won't do it right with you. So I'm glad that we're on the same page on that one. We have run out of time though, my friend. Thank you for yours, and we will talk to you next week.
Hasta luego, hot potatoes.
All right, brother. We got to take a break.